Hey, it's Anna. Welcome back to my channel. It is the last day of December, so I figured I could show you all of the books that I got in December. Most of these were purchased by my husband for the book advent calendar that he puts together for me every year. The total for these 76 books, I believe, was $334. I'll be able to go through some pricing, show you some screenshots that he sent for me. He got most of these on Facebook Marketplace. I believe he bought one full retail price, and then he had our friend actually do 2 sprayed edges. So I think those were a little bit of a different cost. And then I did participate in the Barnes & Noble 1/3 off a hardcover sale. And I also purchased just one book for book club. So we have a total of 80 books that we're going to go through. Some of these I've read, some of these I've heard of, some of these I have no idea what they're about. So you'll definitely have to let me know if you've heard of some of these, what they're about. I'm super excited to show you all of the books that I was so lucky to get in December for my birthday month. So let's get started with the small stack of what I bought for myself at Barnes & Noble and then our next book club book for January. So this is the stack of books that I bought for myself between the Barnes & Noble sale and the book club book. Our book club pick for January is P.S. I Hate You. I actually requested this as an ARC. I don't think I got it, so I'm excited to read it with the book club girls in person. We have to finish this by January 19th. I do plan to do a readathon in between now and then. I tried to do a readathon this weekend. It was just not working, so we're punting to the next thing, but I'm definitely interested in reading this. This was one of the other girls' picks in the group, so I don't know too much about this book, but I like book clubs because you get introduced to so many different books. Then these 3 books I got at the Barnes & Noble 1/3 off of a hardcover sale. I had spent all year saving my rewards. I actually had $50 in rewards for the Barnes & Noble hardcover sale, so I was able to use that plus a birthday coupon, and I actually still had rewards left over, but I didn't want any more than these 3. I did renew my Barnes & Noble membership for next year, but if the sale like this keeps getting worse, I don't know if I'm going to continue. First up, we have Heavenly Tyrant. This is the sequel to Iron Widow. Have I read Iron Widow? No, but I wanted to buy this. And the bookseller was like, so I assume you read Iron Widow? And I said, no, I just wanted the second book. So now whenever I read Iron Widow, I don't have to wait. And then we have One Dark Window and 2 Twisted Crowns. I've seen a lot of good about this duology, and these special editions are really gorgeous. These books are heavy. I feel like I'm weightlifting holding these. Maybe that's an exaggeration, but I really liked how the sprayed edges looks. I like that it's a completed duology. I just thought, hey, if I was going to spend $30 on a book, but I can get a 1/3 off and save some money, may as well get these 2. I think they'll look really nice on my shelf. So wanted to buy those, and I do think I want to start reading more duologies. I'm getting a little bit tired of unfinished series, so I would love to read some completed duologies just to make me feel more satisfied. So if I didn't have rewards, I think I would have ended up spending around $50 for those 3 books. I don't remember though, because in my head it was free money, girl math, because of the rewards from earlier in the year. Oops. So now I'm just going to go pile by pile for each of the books from the book advent calendar, let you know if I've read it, how excited I am to read it, and just general opinions on these books. First up, we have Guilty as Sin. This does not necessarily seem like my style book. This seems like something my mom would really like. So I'm actually going to suggest it to her, maybe have her listen to it first and then see what she thinks. Definitely gives me like mystery adult vibes. We have The Only Survivors. I haven't read this one. Definitely gives thriller vibes. Seems a little bit more my style of thriller compared to the Guilty as Sin book before this, so I am excited to read this, but I haven't seen anything about this book. All the Dangerous Things is a book that I listened to. It's my least favorite Stacey Willingham book. I think I gave it like a 2 out of 5 stars. It was just not a book that hit for me. However, now it is an audiobook trophy, so it's nice to have on my shelf. Plus, I do like having a mixture of books, and one day I'm going to, once I get 1,000 books in my library, then start switching out books that I don't like as much for books that I do like and continue to grow a library from there. So I definitely like having these, especially because audiobook trophies are just fun to have. So that's exciting for me. The Nanny is also an audiobook trophy. I gave this, I think, like a 4 out of 5 stars. I really like Lana Ferguson. I want to listen to more by her, want to read more by her. So I'm excited. You can tell that this book advent calendar definitely has some like thriller-based Facebook Marketplace purchases and then some spicier romance Facebook Marketplace purchases. So we're kind of all over the board here. A Game of Gods by Starlet St. Clair. I think this is the first book, A Touch of Darkness, but told from Hades' perspective, from my my brief research I've done, I really liked A Touch of Darkness, so I think I'll like this one too. But I actually haven't finished the Touch of Darkness series. I think I only listened to the first 2 books, and then it was just getting kind of repetitive. So, but I do like seeing books from multiple perspectives, like Twilight and Midnight Sun, so I do think I would enjoy reading this, but I have not read it yet. Then we have When I'm Dead, our first hardcover so far, and I have not read this. I have not heard of this. This does also look more like my type of thriller. I think the cover has pulled me in before at bookstores, but I just never pulled the trigger to buy it. But now I have it, so there's no excuse. We have Icebreaker. This is my least favorite book in the Maple Hills series so far. I really loved Wildfire, and then Daydream was my second favorite. This was a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Again, just another audiobook trophy to have. I feel like those are just fun to collect. We have The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, which I have been somewhat interested to read just because I know at the time when it came out, there was so much controversy between this and The Seven Wives of Evelyn Hugo in terms of just like title and look and feel. So I am kind of interested in reading this, but I haven't looked much into it beyond that. We have The Wedding Girl. This does not feel like a book that is me at all, but there is a pug on the cover and I love puggles, so I feel like it makes sense as to why this was part of the purchase, but it could have also just been part of the mass Facebook Market purchase as my husband did. So don't know if I'll ever get to this one, so if you've read it, definitely let me know because I'm just not sure how I feel about it. Definitely judging a book based on its cover. These Hollow Vows, this is an audiobook trophy. I actually finished the duology during the month of December, which was exciting. I liked the first book better than the second book for sure. There was a lot more plot to dig into, a lot more stakes in the first book, so I'm excited to have an audiobook trophy for this one. I felt really bad for my husband at that point because we had had a lot of audiobook trophies kind of in a row, and he really wanted to get me different books, but I still feel like having an audiobook trophy, again, is nice for the collection, nice for the library, especially if it's books that I have enjoyed. Hook, Line, and Sinker, this is actually a book that I already owned. This is I think one of the only repeat owned book from the entire book advent calendar, but I had not read it. So now I have this, probably gonna sell this copy, or maybe I'll try bedazzling it. I don't know, but I don't really have a desire to get into more Tessa Bailey books at this time. I read a few of hers. She's just not my favorite writer. I'm not always for her style of writing or her style of jokes. I feel like I have to be in a certain mood for it, and I'm definitely not in the mood for it like right now. Then we have The Queen of Days. This is a really nice hardcover of it. Haven't heard anything about it. I think somebody on Book Social Media said this was going to be their next read, but I haven't heard back from them what they thought of it. So if you've read it, definitely let me know. Then we have Nicholas Sparks, A Bend in a Road. I have no desire to read Nicholas Sparks books, and I don't think I ever have, but now I have it. Maybe this will be the first one I pick up by him, but I really don't know. Please See Us seems a little more up my alley for a thriller, but I haven't seen anything about this. It's not one that I've ever put on like a wish list or anything, but I'm definitely curious because I do think the cover is pretty enticing, and I don't know, something about this book is just like calling to me a bit. I don't know if you ever have that with books, but this one is just kind of drawing my attention. The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager. This is a book that I'm not really sure when I'm going to pick up, to be honest, because I read my first Riley Sager book in November and it was okay, but I feel like there are other thriller authors who I haven't given a chance to before that I would want to before giving another Riley book a chance, but I have this at the ready in case I have a desire to read a Riley Sager book. For example, I really want to read more of Ruth Ware's books, which I actually have 2 physical copies of sitting on my shelf, and I feel like I would pull those 2 before this one, but after I finish those, I feel like I could pull the Riley Sager book next. I don't know, you'll have to let me know what you think of Riley Sager as an author. I've only read The Only One Left or something like that. I don't even fully remember the title. So it was just kind of a mid book for me, and I feel like I really want a book that excites me right now. I feel like I'm in a bit of a reading slump, but clearly I have a lot of choices to choose from to kind of get me out of that slump. We have Water for Elephants, the movie cover, and I don't know anything about this. Haven't even watched the movie, but this might give me some inspiration to do another movie book comparison. I like doing those videos, but I have absolutely no clue what this is about. I do love elephants, but I somehow don't think that's the focus of the book. We have No One Can Know. This is a book that I also recently listened to in November. This was a 4 out of 5 stars. Really enjoyed this one, and I am happy to have a hardcover of it, especially Book of the Month. I am not sure if I would want to get a subscription to Book of the Month, but I got a few Book of the Month books, and I feel like just from seeing them secondhand, they are pretty nice quality. I just don't know how much the subscription service is actually worth, but this has piqued my interest to looking into the subscription service. First Lie Wins, another thriller, another Book of the Month pick. This was a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I think I voted for it in the Goodreads Awards for like one of my favorite books. I really enjoyed this book. I'm definitely looking forward to more of what this author does, and I again think this is a really nice quality book. I was actually looking at going to a book event to meet her, and now I have another copy of a book for her to sign if I do end up going to that book event. Then we have Float Plan. This just screams summer read. Like if I am going to a beach beach at all this summer, I would want to bring this book and read it by there, and I think I would look like such an aesthetic girly at the beach. That's what this gives me. If this book ends up being like a serious romance, I'm gonna feel a little silly crying on the beach, but we'll just have to see. I know nothing about this. I'm definitely judging it by the cover where it says sometimes you have to lose your way to find what you're looking for. It definitely screams like summer romance to me. So if you've read it, definitely let me know. I do think this is one that I kind of want to put in like my pile of priority reads for 2025, just because I do want to put some books from the book advent calendar as a priority. Then we had Punk 57 by Penelope Douglas. My friend warned me that her books are spicy, and I think the one that I've mainly seen on social media is Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. Don't know anything about this. Feel free to tell me all about this. I am definitely not the biggest spicy girl reader, and so having them on my shelf is always nice if I want to diversify what I'm reading, but I'm not sure about this at all. So someone will definitely have to let me know. Where the Forest Meets the Stars. I know absolutely nothing about this. This seems like more of a literary fiction book, again, judging by the cover. I'm really not in the mood for any of those right now, but maybe if someone has a really good recommendation for this, but I'm just not sure. But I also like having books like this where they're a bit more unique, because then it pushes me out of staying in such like a mainstream cycle of reading. I like being able to mix up my books every once in a while with books that not a lot of people have read. Then we have Gothicana. I think this is one of the books that came in the quote worst condition, but I still don't think it's really that bad. It doesn't have the hard jacket, but I definitely have books where I haven't kept the hard jacket. You do have some nice like end pages in here, and it is sprayed, which is cool. I don't even know what the hard jacket looks like. I feel like this book was all over social media for a hot minute, but I have no idea what it's about. Definitely not in the mood for darker books right now, so probably gonna put this to the side, but maybe this will be a good one for like September, October of 2025 to read. All right, we have The Boy Under the Table. I read a little bit of the description of this book. I can't read this right now. There's no chance. There's absolutely no chance that I can read this right now. But if you've read it, let me know if you've liked it. I'm just definitely not in a mental place to even try to pick up this book right now. Hidden Pictures, I just recently listened to. I didn't like it. This does not make me want to pick up another Jason book personally. Like I said, there are other thriller authors that I want to pick up more before picking up some other ones. I will say, I do like how the Hidden Pictures ones, you actually get to like see some pictures. So that was funny because I was actively listening to Hidden Pictures as I opened this up on the book advent calendar. So it was just a funny coincidence. We have Saving Noah by Lucinda Berry. I haven't read any Lucinda Berry books. She's a thriller author that I want to try reading. So I think this is one of those perfect books to add to my TBR of somebody that I've heard of, but I never pulled the trigger for getting one of their books. And now I have one. So again, really no excuses. I also think this is a self-published copy. I don't know if there is a mainstream published copy at this point. So that is really cool to have a self-published copy. But I can't remember if she's a traditional or a self-published author at this moment. Oopsies. We have Luck and Last Resorts. This is one of my favorite covers, I feel like, just because I honestly feel like this looks like me and my husband. Not right now with my hat on, but I just thought it was cute. And again, this seems like another summer type reads book. And I don't really know what my taste in books is going to be. So I like having the variety of like romance and thrillers and all of these. So might read this. I feel like though, I wouldn't want to read this on a boat, but I'm not a big fan of boats. So don't think I would ever be in a situation to do that. This is another book that doesn't really scream my typical reading taste. We have Then You Came, but there's a cute dog on the cover, so I like that. And again, I don't know how my reading style is going to change. I can already feel a shift as this year's coming to an end of my reading preferences, so it's going to be really interesting to see what I actually shift to, what I continue to like, what books I don't really gravitate towards anymore. So I like having other books as backup. Then we have The Shadows Between Us. I know that this author, just based off the back, wrote Daughter of the Pirate King, which I feel like I've seen before, but I haven't heard anyone specifically talk about this book. But again, this gives me a lot more fantasy vibes, lets me mix up my books a little bit. So that's one of the reasons why I really love getting this book advent calendar every year. We have Pretty Baby by Mary Kubica. She is a thriller author that I also want to try more books of. I read one of her books and I thought it was okay, so I would really love to give another one a try, so I'm happy to have this one. We have Radiate, which is, I guess, maybe related to Lightless and Supernova. So I don't actually know if this is like the third book in a series or whatnot. Not really sure, but this seems a little more sci-fi to me, and I definitely want to try to read more sci-fi, so I think this is a good addition. If this is not sci-fi, let me know. Again, I'm judging a book by a cover here. We have another book of the month, In a Holidays by Christina Lauren. I love Christina Lauren books. I haven't read this one. I would love to meet them this year because it's an author duo, so the more physical books I have of Christina Lauren's, the better, and hopefully I will read this one. I'm kind of a little past the season to read it, but who knows? I could also pick it up in July for Christmas in July. We have 2 Sophie Lark books. I've never read a Sophie Lark book before, so I am excited to have 2 copies. We have Brutal Prince and Savage Lover. I think these are in a series together. Don't know what order they're in. It looks, or I could be completely wrong, so actually looking at the back, it looks like we have, no, wait, hold on, reading. These are the same series, but I don't know what books each are. I think this is the first one, maybe this is the third, and I haven't read any Sophie Lark. She's an author that I would love to read, so I really like getting authors that I've seen before but haven't read yet in the book advent calendar, so I have a chance to read them. This is really funny because this is like the cartoon cover of the deal, and I actually got the deal in the book advent calendar last year. Oopsie daisy. So I don't know what we're gonna do with this one. Undecided. I also have not read the deal since getting it last year, so yikes. We have The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. I actually read a novella by her that I really liked. And I think this is what she's most famous for. So I'm excited to have this book. I think it's similar, people have said, to another book that I think I've read. Not 100% sure on that one, but I think this could be fun. I also think there's a movie based off this. So again, another, if I wanted to watch a movie after I read a book, this could be a fun book to do that with. We Hunt the Flame is an audiobook trophy. I liked the first book better than the second for sure, but this is definitely a book that I'm happy to have as an audiobook trophy. And honestly, I wish I would have read it physically because there's so much world building. Like even having a map just would have been useful, and you definitely lose that with an audiobook unless you go and look it up separately like I did, but I only looked up like halfway through. Probably should have looked it up earlier. Well Matched. I think this cartoon cover is cute. I maybe have heard 1 or 2 things about it, but really not much. But I think it could be a fun read, especially with a man in a kilt. Last True Love Story. Have never heard of this. No idea what it's about. It's in nice conditions, but it was a withdrawn library book, which I love withdrawn library books. I'm always curious why they decided to be taken out of circulation. So I would be curious to know what people thought of this book and maybe why it was withdrawn. I will say it is a little bit of an older book, I think, from looking at the copyright. It is from 2016, which it makes sense if it's withdrawn after so many years with so many books coming out and the publishing industry kind of like skyrocketing again because of book social media. So, but I would be curious to see what this book is actually about. The Invisible Hour. This looks like a really nice version of this Book of the Month book. No idea what it's about. I'm definitely more intrigued by the cover. I love red hair. I dye my hair red. I feel like it's just something that I've always been like kind of connected with. So I'm really curious about that, if that is even a big part of this book at all. And then we have The Bullet Swallower. I don't think I would ever in a million years have ever picked up this book if it was not for the book advent calendar. Still have no idea what it's about, but it's now on my shelf. So no excuse to not read it now. And again, it's a very nice Book of the Month version. I feel like their books are pretty high quality from what I've seen, and I'm getting them secondhand. So this isn't even how they're showing up in a mailbox. So I don't know, Book of the Month definitely is catching my eye more and more with getting some of these books in the book advent calendar. We have Torn. This is a romance book. My friend and I might buddy read this together, but I've kind of let her down buddy reading lately because I've just been in a weird mood. So we'll see. But she had it on her TBR. I really trust her recommendations, so I'm hoping this is good. We have Kit McBride Gets a Wife. This really reminds me of Farmer Gets a Wife just because of the rope. Definitely judging a book by the cover. Do I think it's like that? I don't know. I don't think it's based off of a reality TV show, but that would be funny if it was. We have Madame by Sarah Kate, and last year I got Praise by Sarah Kate in the book advent calendar, so I feel like this is unintentionally a theme of the book advent calendars. Still have not read any. I know my one friend loves Sarah Kate, again, but just a very spicy book, and I am just frankly not in the mood for any type of spice right now. So, but one day I might be, and so I'll have this at the ready. I probably have to read Praise first, maybe. I don't actually know how these series works. I don't know if they're interconnected standalones or if they follow one person, but I don't know. We'll just have to see. We have Patricia Cornwell, Flesh and Blood. This is something that I feel like my mother would read. So again, I want to recommend it to her and she can tell me what she thought of the book before I pick it up to read it. We have An Unwanted Guest. It seems like a book that you could just read in one sitting, and I feel like I might need one of those thriller-based ones soon just to kind of kickstart my reading again. December has been a really rough reading month, and then especially getting all these books, I almost feel a bit guilty getting all of them, being in a slump, but I know slumps come and go, so I'll be ready to read this, when the time comes. I haven't heard anything about this. It just gives me those vibes of I could read this in one sitting. It gives me very Frida McFadden vibes, just like based on the cover. And then we have The Wife Upstairs by Rachel Hawkins. I've only listened to one of Rachel's books, and my mom did too. The narrator's not good. So I'm actually very excited to have a physical copy of a Rachel Hawkins book because maybe I would like that better if I could read it at my pace. I listen to all audiobooks at 1x speed. It's part of like my OCD behavior treatment that I don't listen to anything at 2x speed. And so, but I read faster than 1x speed in an audiobook just naturally. I'm not going to slow down the way that that I'm reading. And when I do read, I will say I don't skim at all. I force myself to read every single word. And if I catch myself skimming, I'll like make myself go back and read the part that I thought I skimmed. Again, part of my OCD treatment. So I'm actually really excited to have a book by hers to physically try reading to see how I like her as an author. We have Honeycutt by Sierra Simone. My friend who really likes Sarah Kate also really likes Sierra Simone. And I've read one of Sierra Simone's works when she collaborated with Julie Murphy for some holiday romances. And I know Sierra does the spicier parts of those romances, so this is a spicier book. I think I'm supposed to read some other stuff before this one, but I don't fully remember. But I have it ready whenever I get to it. We have two Ana Huang books. We have The King of Wrath and The King of Pride. Both more recent books. I don't know if there's more in the series that have come out because I feel like King of Pride just very recently came out. Oh, I'm incorrect. It's King of Greed. So there is another one that has come out. This is still 2023 published. So she just pumps books out very quickly. So almost having a completed set from a book advent calendar. Now, if I do get the third one, I'm definitely going to want to make sure it matches the spines and everything on the side. I read the first 3 books in the Twisted Love series by Ana Huang. Each got worse and worse. I think these are different than Twisted Love, so I am actually interested to try reading one of these. We have James Patterson's 21st birthday. I have never had a desire to read an adult James Patterson books. I do want to reread Maximum Ride by him. So again, this is another one where I would recommend it to my mother and make her tell me what she thought of it. My mother loves reading. My mother loves audiobooks. It would not be a chore for her if I gave her a list of books to read. I don't want people to think I'm like forcing my mother to read books for me. We have The Chestnut Man, which is apparently coming to Netflix. Don't know if it's already on Netflix. Could be another fun one of reading the book and then comparing it to a TV show. Have I looked up if it's on Netflix yet? No, I truly have not. Another one that I have not checked if it's actually on Netflix yet, even though the book says coming to Netflix. We have Harlan Coben's The Woods. I've never had a desire to read a Harlan Coben book, but I think I actually have multiple in this set, so this might be a sign that maybe I would like Harlan's books, but I'm really not sure. We have Don't Open the Door by Alison Brennan. Again, just because I'm judging a book by its cover, when these thriller books are just kind of smaller, these make me feel like they're not exactly my thriller books, so I would want to recommend this to my mother and get her feedback on it. She likes books like this, so maybe when I'm her age, I will like books like this. We just don't know where the years are going to take us. Here's our other Harlan Coben book, Caught. No idea. Never heard of really too many of Harlan's books. I just feel like I put Harlan in the same category as like James Patterson, so that's why I don't think I've ever really had a desire to read them. But I could be wrong. So if you like Harlan's books, definitely let me know which ones I should read. I have 2 of them I can choose from, so I'm not, lacking Harlan books around here. But I feel like he's just written so many. I put him on the same level as like Nora Roberts too, or like J.D. Robb. They're the same person, I think. So it's kind of like on that level. We have Hysteria. This looks fun. It also says on the back, everyone knows that Mallory killed her boyfriend Brian. So honestly, kind of in maybe a mood for a thriller like that. I'm trying to see how she's innocent, trying to figure out what happened. So this might be one that I pick up sooner rather than later now that I looked at the first sentence on the back. I don't know. I just don't know what kind of mood I'm in. I haven't read a thriller in a while, and I'm listening to a thriller right now, and it's just not like sparking joy in me. And so I want to find books that like bring that joy back again. We have Daughter of the Pirate King. So I think that's really fun. And I've seen a lot about this. I think people like this book. Not 100% sure. But of course, red-haired pirate girl. I could be that red-haired pirate girl. So this might be like a fun one to maybe help me get out of my little slump. We have The Inheritance of Lost. No way. Not right now. No, I don't even want to look at it any longer. I just want to talk about the next book. You can definitely tell I'm in like a mood of like what I definitely cannot be around. This is actually very exciting because I love Jasmine Guillory. I don't own any of her books physically. I've listened to all 8 of her books, like full-length books, because she has novellas. I've listened to all of her full book on audiobooks. So this is my first physical copy, and my husband like kind of spoiled this one because he had seen that I'd already read it, and I said, don't you dare sell this one. I want this physical copy. And it's very nice. I like how her name is Sparkly, and this is I think this is the 4th book in the Wedding Date Interconnected Standalone series, and I feel like I just am really happy to own a physical copy. So I'm really glad he didn't decide to take it out of the book advent calendar. Next, we have The Cousins by Karen McManus. This is the sprayed edges that our friend did for the book advent calendar. I'll have to put her username below if you're interested in getting some sprayed edge books done. I have a lot of Karen McManus books, and by a lot I mean 4, and I've read none of them. But I want to, and now I'm really starting to have no excuse to not reading them. We have The Kingmaker by Kennedy Ryan. I love the Skyland series by Kennedy Ryan. I want to read more by her, so this is a perfect transition, I feel like, because this is a completely different series from Before I Let Go and This Could Be Us. And then we have Fangirl Down by Tessa Bailey. I will say I'm more inclined to try try the sports romances by Tessa Bailey than I am to try anything even half serious by Tessa Bailey. So this might not be a bad one to actually try. We have The Queen of Thieves, another book of the month book. I think the cover is really interesting. And for whatever reason, this is another book where I'm like, ooh, maybe this will help me get out of like whatever weird reading feeling I'm in right now. And so I'm really happy to like have this one. So if you've read it, definitely let me know because maybe I'm off base. Then we have Hot Winter Nights. I have no desire for this book at this point in time. Now this might be a book that I just might have to read based off of my little attitude towards reading this month. It's Buy Yourself the Fucking Lilies and Other Rituals to Fix Your Life from someone who's been there. This just might have to be the book that I need. Maybe I need something to like get my life straight. I'm actually not exactly sure. So I don't know. This might just have to be one that I actually pick up and try because maybe it'll just kind of like re-spark. And I don't usually draw myself towards self-help books. I don't usually do anything like that, but there's just something about the title that I think this could be really fun and maybe really helpful for me right now. I might actually put that in like a different pile to like actually try reading. We have Goodbye Paris. This screams like a book that honestly I feel like could have a heartbreaking ending, and I kind of want that right now. I kind of want to be more in touch with my emotions. So this might be a book. I know if it's technically classified as a romance that it's gonna automatically have a happy ending, and I can't necessarily see that right now. There's like a sticker over the side, but maybe this will be a book that helps me get in touch with my emotions. The Sweet Spot. This is by the same author as The Float Plan, and I feel like you can kind of tell by the vibes of the cover. This would be perfect then because we do actually have a cabin up north that I could bring to a cabin up north and be able to like read. This gives me cabin-y vibes from the front cover. So I might be reading a lot of Trish Doller in 2025. Then we have Sign here. I think this is the thickest book of the month book that I have received. Again, very high quality. No idea what it's about. Definitely intrigued by the cover. This might also be one that I just like put to the side to try to read. Even the back with the little like trap. I don't know. I'm just in a weird reading mood right now. We have Duke Actually. Again, another one that I feel like I just missed the season for. So I feel like if I do want to become more of a seasonal reader, I'm going to have a pretty good stack to go towards for either full-on Christmas time or Christmas in July time. We have Small Town Big Magic. This just seems like it's a good witchy time. So again, September, October time frame. And I like the feel of the cover. I don't know. I feel like I haven't felt a paperback like this in a while where it's almost like laminated to a point, but I haven't heard of this book before. I haven't really heard of anything. I don't know if Hazel Beck has done other books. Her name sounds familiar, so I could be wrong, but there's no reference to any types of books. It does say that this is perfect for fans of the X-Hex, so she didn't write the X-Hex, and I kind of thought that's what she had written, but I guess I'm wrong. Once Upon a Broken Heart, I read all of the Caraval series. I thought it just got a little odd in the Caraval series because the focus of the first book and the focus of the second and third book, you feel like you're in two different worlds, which is kind of odd because they're a trilogy. So I'm curious about Once Upon a Broken Heart, so I'm happy to have this, and I know it's one of those completed trilogies, so if I am looking for something to give me that closure, I might have to pull on this one a little bit sooner than I was thinking. We have Karen Slaughter, The Good Daughter. This is thick. This is a book that I think I would want to pick up the audiobook and read it with. I've read a Karen Slaughter book and I liked it. It was just kind of mid. She's another thriller author that I could see myself reaching for, but not before some other thriller authors. So I feel like this could be a good one that, again, I recommend to my mother to read first. We have The Body Keeps Score, another self-help book. You know what? These two I'm putting to the side. Maybe this is what I need to try reading. Maybe these will help me with whatever the heck is going on with me mentally. And then we have The Truth About the Accident. Again, this looks like a nice little read in one sitting type of thriller, which might be exactly what I need. So if you've read The Truth About the Accident, let me know what you think because, again, I'm leaning towards some of these books to really help me out of this slump. And with that, we're on our final 3 books. This stack of books was actually on the book advent calendar for Christmas Day. So the first one of Home Sweet Christmas I thought was really appropriate. Again, I feel like I have a decent amount of books now for the Christmas time if I really want to get into the Christmas spirit. And I think that could be fun to be more of like a seasonal reader and maybe try switching up my reading that way. We have This Is My America. This is the second sprayed edge that my friend did for us, and I'm really especially impressed by like this side here. Like, she hasn't done sprayed edges obviously forever. I feel like they've been more trendy now, so I'm really impressed by this, and I am definitely interested in reading it, especially with the sprayed edges. And it's just kind of fun knowing that like there's not another book exactly like this. And then this book, my husband was at Barnes & Noble meeting Alex Astor for me, which was very, very nice of of him, and he saw this book. He thought it would be perfect to round out the book advent calendar so that every book advent calendar would have 3 books in it. And it is a signed copy of The Nightmare Before Christmas. And I feel like I've seen this on book social media. I think only positives, but I'm not exactly sure. So you'll definitely have to let me know. It's cool to have another signed book too for the collection. I am definitely more organized with my signed books than like all my other books that I see sitting behind me right now. So that's kind of exciting. And with that, those are the 80 books that I got this December. I am definitely excited for some of them. Some of them I might not pick up for a while. Definitely let me know what you thought of any of the books you saw in this haul. If you have recommendations for them, if you hated any of these books, I definitely want to know all feelings. And I think what I'm going to do is probably start reading one of these two to maybe get myself out of this little bit of a reading slump, reading funk. So my content might look a little bit different over the next few months. And I didn't think it would take such a turn, but it's definitely taken a turn. So hopefully you stick around. Might be a little more infrequent with my posting. I definitely want to find the joy in reading again. I think this past month reading has become more of a chore for me, and I don't want to view reading like that. So I'm definitely going to rethink in 2025 how I look into reading and book social media. I do want to talk about all the pre-orders I'm excited for in 2025, and I do want to do a readathon. So hopefully you'll be seeing those videos soon, and if you have any suggestions, definitely let me know. But yeah, I kind of need to find my joy in reading again in 2025, and maybe these will help me. These don't seem like joyful books, but they might be the books that I actually need to read. So thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and don't forget to keep on reading.